Morning, Governor Soludo restates resolve to transform Awka to befitting state capital. Wife of Anambra State Governor, Mrs. Soludo asks mothers to be alive to family social responsibilities. President Tinubu moves to end reliance on borrowing for public spending. From the foreign scenes, United Kingdom announces deal with Turkey to tackle irregular migration. Before the news in detail, here is a special message. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. Good morning and welcome to the news at 7. My name is Uchechukwu Ebonam. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has reaffirmed his resolve to upgrade Awka to a befitting capital city. The governor stated this while inspecting the proposed site for Awka Mechanic Village. Government House correspondent Valentine Badawa reports is taken from our studios.
The mechanic village will consist of over 130 mechanic shops, spare parts market with over 400 shops, space for car parks and other modern facilities. Speaking shortly after the inspection, Governor Soludo said that his resolve to give Awka a befitting state capital is total and moving all mechanics and other artisans to a permanent location is part of the process. The governor promised to continue implementing strategic master plans in line with his vision of making Anambra a livable, prosperous, and smart megacity.
It has to be a proper capital. Plan where there is rule of law, where there is law and order, and where people can come, Awka as a destination point, where people want to come, enjoy, relax, invest, work. What is going on now is a necessary transition. If we don't do it now, it will even become more difficult in the future.
The chairman, Panel Beaters, Gas Welding and Painting Association, Awka, Mr. Clement Okafor, described the idea as a welcome development, saying that they have long awaited such opportunity. He thanked Governor Soludo for coming up with such plan and assured the cooperation of members.
Permanent site. God bless you.
The Managing Director of Awka Capital Territory Development Authority, Mr. O.C. Onuko, leadership of the Mechanic Association and Spare Parts Market in Awka joined the inspection.
Wife of Anambra State Governor, Mrs. Noye Soludo says despite the current economic situation, mothers should not abandon their primary responsibilities. Mrs. Soludo said this while interacting with women leaders of All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, and Anambra State Association of Town Unions, ASOTU, at the Governor's Lodge, Amobia. We have details.
Addressing the women, Mrs. Soludo said that mothers should wake up to current realities, strengthening the home and the society by creating the right environment for family members to grow. The governor's wife, who expressed dismay at the level of moral decadence in the society, appealed to mothers to do more in asking questions about the lifestyles, habits, and association their children keep. Mrs. Soludo explained that her healthy living project is driving in a dietary revolution that looks to revamp highly nutritious traditional diet that seems to have been abandoned, and asks mothers to be mindful of what they feed their children.
Natural food. If also you may decide you are 1 month change your lifestyle. Rap chemicals in the we the natural food do the kachisiki, alcohol, fuma, all you need now, you change.
The guest lecturer, Professor Brian Adimma, who specialized in obstetrics and gynecology, commended the governor's wife for making this year's August interaction unique and preparing women in the right way to go for their annual August meeting. Professor Adimma, who focused on women's reproductive health, shared important tips on pregnancy, childbirth, family planning, sex selection, and menopause.
Na Pokoba ndị nne ndị ọchịchị niile na mba dị iche iche ka Fabia ka ọ hazie ụzọ ha ga-esi wee mee August meeting. Ife ọbụla a ga-agwụ ụlọ, ife ọbụla a ga na-ekwu ebe a bụ ife ọ ga-agbasịkwa unu ewerukwu ya jee bunyekwa ndị unu na-achị welia ma ndị nwanne unu ma ndị ọyị unu ma ndị ụmụ unu welia unu nyefa owepụlia na obodo n'aka n'ihu.
On agriculture, Mrs. Rosaria Oheri, a director in the Anambra State Ministry of Agriculture, shared emerging revelation in regenerating agriculture, including tips on using biological compost for farming, and urged the women to eat more organic food for the sake of their health. She also asked them to unite against hunger by engaging in subsistence farming and avoid certain agricultural practices that destroy the environment, including using artificial compost, which can cause erosion.
Like my isi katani ikana zo ketan akwụkwọ nni tinye na mmiri fresh vegetable.
Wife of the Deputy Governor of Anambra State, Lady Oluchi Ibezim, Anambra State Commissioner for Women and Social Welfare, Mrs. Ifi Obinabo, APGA Women Leader in Anambra State, Mrs. Esther Onyekesi, wife of the National Chairman of APGA, Mrs. Amara Ezokenwa, among others, were at the event.
Anambra State House of Assembly has passed a resolution urging Governor Chuma Soludo to direct the Managing Director of Anambra State Road Maintenance Agency to commence palliative work on the dilapidated portion of Akuzo Road, Afombo Ekimbo Road, and Uguasike Abatete Road in the Idemili North local government area to alleviate the sufferings of commuters. The House passed the resolution following a motion sponsored to that effect by the member representing Idemili North constituency, Mr. Kingsley Udemezwe, during plenary in Oka. House of Assembly correspondent Chukwemeka Modelim reports.
Section 14(2)(b) of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, affirmed that the protection of life and property remains the key function of government. It is on this basis that Mr. Udem Ezwe sponsored the motion. Explaining the motion, the legislator lamented that the dilapidated portion of the said roads have caused untold hardship to road users through recurrent loss of life and property, accidents, and by the nefarious activities of the underworld. Mr. Udemezwe maintained that if urgent palliative work is done on the roads, it will enhance the safety of road users and help to boost the socio-economic lives of the affected communities and Anambra State in general.
Every moment and every minute of the day, that road is very essential to us because it leads to Federal Road, which is Main Express Road. Now, a lot of containers go there, but because of the bad nature of this road now, motorists and the trailers are falling on daily basis. Now, it is becoming a main situation that on every week, people get lost because of that bad situation and bad spot. When we continue leaving it to the hands of people until it degenerated to this extent of reconstruction, it's not profitable to the affairs of the state.
In his contribution, the member representing Oka North constituency, Mr. John Mark Ikunne, also stated that hoodlums now use the areas to carry out criminal activities, including kidnapping, due to the deplorable condition of the areas, and urged Anambra Road Maintenance Agency to fix those roads to salvage the situation. In their remark, the chief whip of the House, Mr. Jude Ngobiri, and the member representing Aguata constituency 2, Mr. Tony Mwabike, also spoke in favor of the motion.
If this road is fixed, it will reduce the rate of kidnapping that is ongoing now in our state. Fixing of this road will also enhance traffic flow within the Mpo area, because Mpo is very central to Onitsha. Anything that happens at Mpo will affect Onitsha.
Speaker of the House, Right Honorable Somtochukwu Udeze, also highlighted the importance of the roads to socio-economic development of Anambra State and read out the resolution while the lawmakers supported it through a voice vote.
CFR to, as a matter of urgency, direct the Managing Director of Anambra State Road Maintenance Agency, AMA, to commence palliative work on depleted portion of Akuzu Road in Paul. Our form Paul, Ekem Paul Road, and Ugunwa CK Abatete Road, all in Idemili North local government to alleviate the suffering of road users. Those in support of this motion say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
From the State House of Assembly, Chukwuemeka Modelem, ABS News.
National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has organized a one-day media sensitization workshop on the inherent dangers of drug hawking and ripening of fruits with calcium carbide for Association of Health Correspondents in Oka. The exercise attracted health correspondents from the 5 states in the southeast as well as Delta. The workshop was aimed at equipping the media workers with what they need to know on the inherent dangers of drug hawking and ripening of fruits with calcium carbide in order to conscientize the larger society about its destructive health challenges.
Declaring the event open, the Director General of National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control, Professor Moji Adeyeye, represented by the Director, Chemical Evaluation and Research of the agency, Dr. Leonard Omaporiola, who eulogized their former Director General, the late Professor Dora Akunyele, for her efforts in repositioning the agency, said that NAFDAC has been waging war against drug hawking and ripening of fruits with calcium carbide through different media channels to safeguard Nigerians from eating poisonous foods that can lead to death. Professor Adeyeye appealed to Nigerians to stop buying milk, tea, cornflakes, among other beverages that are being measured in cups or plates and sold in the open market, as drugs are sensitive life-saving commodities that should not be sold or bought in an open market.
NAFDAC has observed that these bulk industrial food or ingredients that are not in the retail pack are being sold illegally in some parts of the country, and they are being sold in different markets. These bulk items are openly displayed and they are often measured, that is with measuring plates and the cups and the rest of them. The public is therefore advised not to buy dangerous non-retail pack items from the market.
In a welcome address, the acting director, Southeast Zone of the agency, Mr. Collins Ogedemwe, who shared their vision and mission, said that National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control regulates and controls the manufacture, importation, exportation, sale and use of food, drugs, cosmetics, chemicals, among others, as well as ensures availability of quality and safe foods and drugs.
The NAFDAC of today is customer focused, and our job is to see our stakeholders get it right in their business operations, because it goes a long way in safeguarding the public health.
For the Director of Public Affairs of the agency, Dr. Abubakar Jimo, the media is very critical in their desire and quest to rid the country of drug hawking and ripening of fruits with calcium carbide, and noted that National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control had already trained over 800 journalists on the dangers of bleaching cream this year, and appealed to the media to help sensitize the general public in order to save lives. Earlier, the Anambra State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Afamo Bidike, represented by the Director of Pharmaceutical Services of the Ministry, Mr. Obum Madike, thanked National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control for the great job they are doing, and assured that the Anambra State government will continue to partner with them to end the menace of drug hawking and ripening of fruits with calcium carbide.
Anybody can be a victim of this kind of thing we are talking about today. So I don't think I need to join you so much, because people are aware of the dangers.
Lectures were also delivered on the inherent dangers of artificially ripening of fruits with calcium carbide, menace of drug hawking in Nigeria, influence of mass media campaign on health behavioral change, among others. The President, Association of Health Correspondents of Nigeria, Mr. Hassan Zagi, the chairman, Nigeria Union of Journalists, Anambra State Council, Dr. Emeka Odogu, representatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, National Youth Service Corps, as well as other dignitaries were present during the workshop in Oka. This is Chibuzo Okoye for ABS News.
President Bola Tinubu has vowed to end Nigeria's over-reliance on borrowing to finance public spending. He made the vow on the inauguration of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms. The committee, which comprises experts from both the private and public sectors, is responsible for the various aspects of tax law reform, fiscal policy design and coordination, harmonization of taxes and revenue administration. In his remark at the inauguration, President Tinubu said the committee was aligned with his promise to remove all barriers impeding business growth in Nigeria. He said the country could not continue to tax poverty or production, but focus on returns, incomes and consumption. The federal government has said the financial worth of direct economic damage in Nigeria caused by floods in 2022 is $7 billion. On Tuesday, the government also said over 600 lives were lost at the result of the disaster. It described the situation as the worst effect of climate change in Nigeria. Vice President Kashim Shettima disclosed this at an event of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in Abuja. His speech was read by his Deputy Chief of Staff, Ibrahim Hassan. The Vice President said a lot of people from the northeastern part of Nigeria, including himself, bore the scars of climate change effects and had to live with its impact. He outlined some of the impacts to include drought and desertification, disruption of rainfall patterns leading to sandstorms, severe floods, destruction of farmlands, infrastructure, and human settlements. From the foreign scenes, the United Kingdom has announced a deal with Turkey to enhance the cooperation in tackling irregular migration, which includes a new operational center of excellence to be established by the Turkish National Police. London announced the plan as part of its attempts to reduce irregular migration to the UK, a key political issue. The new UK-backed centre will enrich existing expertise to both countries with respect to activities aimed at disrupting criminal networks organising illegal journeys, according to a statement from the British Interim Minister. The UK will also deploy more officers in Turkey to disrupt the criminal gangs that run the irregular migration routes. The two countries reiterated their commitment to work together to tackle the problem and to strengthen cooperation with countries of origin and transit. The UK government is under particular pressure to stop undocumented people from making crossing of the English Channel. From the world of sports, some football stakeholders in the country have joined voices in calling on the Nigerian Football Federation to pay outstanding allowances owed members of the Super Falcons. These stakeholders, including present and past Super Eagles, in the light of Tuesday's solidarity statement by Global Player Union, FIFA Pro, are calling on the NFF to offset the backlog, also joined in the demand. FIFA Pro's statement was shared on Instagram by Super Falcons forward Asisat Ashola. Napoli forward Victor Simhe replied to the post with "Pay them NFF." Former Everton striker Victor Anichebe wrote, "NFF, pay them. They did us all proud, and even if they didn't, pay them what they are owed." Ex-Super Eagles frontman Johnny Gallo said NFF never stopped these things. Randy Waldron and his leaders have been at odds with the football house over unpaid salary and bonuses that almost saw the team boycott the ongoing Women's World Cup. Before we go, remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS TV from many parts of the world by liking our Facebook page at Anambra Broadcasting Service. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at ABS Television Oka. You can also tweet us on Twitter at ABS Radio TV. We are on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. Log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. Now the main points that made the news again this morning. Governor Soludo has restated resolve to transform Oka to befitting state capital. Wife of Anambra State Governor Mrs. Soludo has asked mothers to be alive to family social responsibilities. President Tinubu has moved to end the reliance on borrowing for public spending. From the foreign scene, we told you the United Kingdom has announced deal with Turkey to tackle irregular migration. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values, has given maximum support for the task ahead. That's all in the news this morning. My name is Uchechukwu Ibonam. Be good.